Ghislaine Maxwell. Probably, unfortunately, you know who that is. She's probably most famous as the enabler of Jeffrey Epstein. And she, so far, is one of the few people who has faced any consequences for his crime. So I watched a documentary film yesterday called Ghislaine Maxwell, Filthy Rich. And I realized maybe about 20 minutes into it that I've already seen it. And this is a film which is kind of a sequel of sorts to a docu-series also produced by Netflix called Jeffrey Epstein, Filthy Rich. And some of the revelations in it are quite shocking. And the weird thing is that Ghislaine was this member of like high society in the UK, but she wanted to be perceived as being like this shocking sexual libertine, and she didn't care who knew it, and she did all of these weird tried to do these weird sex parties with people. And the people that they interview in the film are the ones who were like, oh, I feel uncomfortable, and they left. Or people who were actually abused or whatever. They don't talk to people who actually stayed. Because I think how Ghislaine worked and how Epstein worked is because they got dirt on these people. And because they got dirt, they got influence and they got opportunities to give their service to other people. And this came out in 2022, right when Ghislaine's trial was finishing, or right after. So I think that the extent that this scandal kind of, impacted American politics wasn't quite clear yet, because Epstein had died, and there were like rumors that there was some kind of conspiracy to kill Epstein. And the interesting thing about that is that the rumors were coming from right wing sources, and yes, Epstein was friends with Bill Clinton, so I don't think that he had a political view apart from power and richness and, abusing children. Epstein didn't really care. But the primary politician who has the most to lose from information about Epstein being publicly available, of course, is Trump. And Trump was president when Epstein was killed. So that conspiracy theory was always really weird because they were like, release the Epstein files, release the Epstein files. And then the Democrats didn't, and they were like, well, you're covering up something. You're covering up the fact that there's Democrats in those files. Of course, there's Democrats in the files. There's also like Republicans. But so then when Trump comes to office and he doesn't release the files, people are like, release the files, release the files. And they're like, oh, wait a minute. Trump's in the files. And then they had like this revelation that Trump was in the files. But back to Ghislaine, she was just such a weird, needy person. She's still alive, but so she kind of grew up with a very odd father. His name was Robert Maxwell, I believe, and he was sort of a press baron in the UK, and that's how she had an entree into rich society. Like she knew the royal family, and that's how Prince Andrew got involved in the whole Epstein thing. But yeah, her father. The documentary doesn't say that she was abused necessarily, but they do show that the world that they lived in was not a normal world for anyone. And yeah, so she kind of grew up trying to please her father, and her father felt like women were these sexual objects that he could do whatever he wanted with. And he liked having, because she was like a young, attractive woman, he liked having her around to show off to people, basically. And it kind of reminds me a lot of Trump and Ivana. Like, I don't think that they recorded anything that Robert Maxwell said about his daughter, but you can kind of get the same vibe from that. So then her father commits suicide or gets murdered. I mean, that's kind of unclear on a boat. And then it turns out that he stole almost £1 billion, well, £500 million from his workers. So Ghislaine didn't have any money. Like, the family didn't have any money after he died because of all of the legal complications. So Ghislaine goes to New York, where she meets Epstein, and then they proceed to create this weird sex trafficking organization. And yeah, I think that's the weird part about this, is that they are clearly directing the focus on these two people. And yeah, those people were criminals and they deserved to be in prison and, to be tried and prosecuted for their crimes. But like, they interview a girl who was on Epstein's island and they don't mention anyone else who was there. Like, they think it was just Epstein who wanted to have, 500 girls on the island for himself. Like, it's so sick. So sick. And I think that we're not going to have a good understanding of that whole era until Trump dies and this current version of the Republican Party is out of office, because I think he is the one who is covering up a lot of those secrets, because I think that's the one thing he thinks would do him in. And, he's covering it up. So we don't even know if he is connected or not. If he just knew them, if he just hung out in their circles, because he was a rich New York guy and Epstein was a rich New York guy. So obviously they knew each other that way, maybe. And maybe he just wants to cover it up so people, but then the fact that he's covering it up seems to suggest that there is something there. Suggest. I'm not saying that there is anything there because I don't know, because of the cover-up, etc. Yeah. My other thought about this is that, so it's become kind of a meme over the past, 4 years or whatever, that you'll have, like, talk about some famous person, and then there'll be a picture of them with Epstein, and then you're like, oh, okay, I don't know. So the conclusion is never to go to parties, because they do the same thing in this documentary where they have Ghislaine and she's talking to one of the actors from Northern Exposure, or she's talking to Bill Clinton, or, all of these people, and you're like, oh, okay, that doesn't look good at all. Yeah, so the documentary, I don't know. I don't think that it's not mind-boggling. Like, you probably know everything that the documentary talks about, but it is interesting to get the side of the victims, and the documentary doesn't necessarily focus a lot on Ghislaine Maxwell. It focuses on the impact she had on people, which I think is pretty worthwhile thing to do. All right, what did you think about Ghislaine Maxwell, Filthy Rich? Put your thoughts in the comment section down below, and I will talk to you later. Oh, before I go, though, if you like what I do, please subscribe to the channel. Please like, please comment, all that jazz. Bye-bye.